Hello there, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us on NTV at 1. My name is Zainab Ismail. We have all the stories that making headlines across the country and beyond. Now, nominated senators who boycotted President Uhuru Kenyatta's invitation to a parliamentary group meeting are currently before the Jubilee Party's disciplinary committee to plead their case. The committee has been listening to submissions from Millicent Omanga and Victor Prengay. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi is now joining us live from our newsroom with the details. Now, Kennedy, the two leaders say their decision to abscond the meeting was not deliberate, right?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Zainab, and that has been the story from everybody who has been before that committee, because the committee started sittings yesterday, and that committee chaired by Lumatete, all of them were of the opinion that they either did not get the invite, or when they got the invite, they were either sickly and in hospital or in their homes. Yesterday, they got the opportunity to listen to three senators, that is Naomi Wako, Mary Seneta and Falhada, and all of them were of the opinion that yes, they either got the message, or the messages that come into their phones are so many, especially at this time when the country is experiencing the matters with regards to corona, and they did not per se see the message. And this is just one of those ways where they're trying to get back into good books with President Uhuru Kenyatta and his faction of Jubilee, as the axe has now been falling on most of those people who have not been very loyal to the party. So to answer your question, yes, they have been saying that, and today Millicent Omanga cut out a face different from what we have been seeing. I remember about 2 months ago or 3 months ago when I covered her together with about 100 other members of parliament, be it from the Senate or the National Assembly. She was the loudest, saying that they would want any motion brought against impeaching deputy president. And I can remember her words, "Bring it on, baby, bring it on." And today she cut out another image that we have not seen, as she was being very remorseful with regards to what she said or missing that meeting. She said that she did not receive a message to attend President Uhuru Kenyatta's parliamentary group meeting on the 11th of May, and has been able to speak to the majority whip now, Irungu Kangata, and has expressed her apologies to the party leader and to the party, and she would really want to be pardoned. So this is what is going on, and everybody who's attending that particular meeting is trying to say that they are very loyal to President Uhuru Kenyatta, and they do not know what demon actually got into them that they missed that meeting on that particular 11th of May. That meeting has heralded some changes that we have been able to see this far, including yesterday's removal from committees of Deputy President William Ruto's key allies, including, and also the reshuffling. We saw the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee Chairperson Cherargei moved into a different committee. We also saw Laikipia Senator John Kenyo moved into a different committee. We also saw Meru Senator Mithika Lenturi also de-whipped, or actually moved from two very influential committees, that is CPIC and also the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and moved into the Delegated Legislation Committee. So this is what we are seeing. Also, our correspondent in Kirinyaga has just called a few minutes ago, and we are being told that members of parliament from Jubilee who had actually moved and went with Deputy President William Ruto, 3 of them actually got wind of a meeting that was being chaired by the Interior PS Karanja Kibisho, and they ran there to pledge loyalty. So Zainab, it is that time again where members of parliament are actually coming to pledge loyalty to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Yesterday at a press conference at the Jubilee headquarters, we saw the Secretary General Raphael Tuju was very keen and actually said that they are not going to be very merciful to anybody who is disloyal. So we are following up on this story, Zainab, and we'll be giving you an up-to-minute detail on what is happening. But right now, we do know that Senator Victor Prengay is currently before that committee and is saying, and is also doing the same thing like all the others have been doing, pledging loyalty to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Later on, Zainab, as I get back to you, we'll also be giving you details of a management committee meeting that is currently ongoing, where the party organ is going to be reactivating all the other organs after making sure that they have the requisite numbers. Back to you, Zainab.
I thank you so much, Kennedy Muredi there, our senior political affairs reporter. And certainly, like I said, very interesting times ahead with regards to the developments happening there. Now, the death toll from the ongoing floods in the country has risen to 285, with over 810,000 others displaced. Even with reduced rainfall in the past 2 weeks, the effects are still being felt across the 33 affected counties. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa has urged residents in the flood-prone areas to be alert as the rains are still on. His environment counterpart, Keriako Tobiko, on the other hand, says the 3 billion shillings allocated by the government will be used to mitigate the effects of deforestation and flood through massive tree planting.
As of midnight last night, the total number of lives lost have risen from 256 to 285. And also the number of people affected has risen to 810,655. This is just a part of the effects of these heavy rains that have been ongoing, but we also have acreage in terms of crop loss in many parts of the country that our colleagues in agriculture will be confirming by next week. As the rain subside, we will be able to establish the exact acreage in terms of crop loss that we have suffered. And I spoke to CS Keter this morning. He says our dams are still full, but they have now stabilized, meaning we are likely to see the effects of flooding in, say, Garissa and Tana River also subsiding as the dam levels also stabilize. But this does not mean that we should relax, because as we've been told by the experts, though the rains will be subsiding in northern Kenya, parts of eastern, we will still be having rains going into June in the western part of the country, Nyanza, the Lake Basin region. Also at the coast, we will be still experiencing rains and parts of Rift Valley. So let us stay alert. Let us keep responding to the alerts that we have been given.
Well, the poisonous food that was distributed to residents of Gikambura in Kikuyu, Kiambu County was laced with aflatoxins and pesticides. The Kenya Bureau of Standards says an examination of samples taken from the food have revealed that some of the substances were so poisonous that they risked causing infertility in women. NTV's Silas Apollo reports.
The Kenya National Bureau of Standards now say that tests done on samples taken from the relief food distributed in Kikuyu, Kiambu County, revealed that the food was indeed poisonous. KEB says that an examination of the maize flour indicated that the commodity contained high levels of aflatoxin, as well as a pesticide called dicamba, which is known for causing infertility in women. Studies have also shown that large doses of aflatoxin can lead to acute food poisoning. Other samples tested were those picked from cooking oil, sugar, as well as dry tea leaves. A day after, 12 residents were admitted to hospital due to complications arising from the food. The 12 complained of severe stomach aches and sore throats after consuming the food, which is said to have been distributed by unknown people. The agency now says it has compiled a report on the test results and forwarded the list to the Ministry of Health and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations for further action. It further adds that it is in the process of establishing whether the donations pass the standardization test as required by law. Some have equally linked the distribution to Deputy President William Ruto, who visited the area a week ago and distributed relief food, accusations Ruto has denied. The Deputy President says it was the work of political detractors playing games with the lives of Kenyans. It is an incident that has raised questions over the safety of donations made toward the COVID-19 kitty, as well as the procedure of distributing the food. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Now, as the country awaits a possible easing of the COVID-19 containment measures, traders in Eastleigh, which remains one of the most affected areas in Nairobi, have started putting in place sanitary measures, including spraying booths in readiness for a possible return to normalcy. Now, aside from the dusk to dawn curfew, which was imposed on March 27th, the government also ordered cessation of movement into 5 counties, as well as Eastleigh and Old Town estates in Nairobi and Mombasa, respectively, in order to tame the spread of the virus. Over the weekend, President Uhuru Kenyatta hinted at a possible relaxation of those measures, which lapses on the 6th of June.
Corona ilipoanza, maisha imekuwa ngumu. Most of our customers ambaye tulikuwa tunawatarajia ni watu walikuwa wanatoka majuu. As of now, we have closed the restaurants, the hotel. We are operating at 0 capacity. This system unaona nyuma yetu. I think this is the one and only in around Eastleigh. Na tumeweka kwa ajili ya measures ya hii corona ambaye imesumbua karibu kila mtu. This is some of the measures ambaye tunaweka before we reopen.
Now, transport along the Busia-Malaba highway was crippled for several hours following demonstrations by residents of alleged police brutality and harassment. The residents say that one resident lost his life yesterday due to the use of excessive force by the police, and 2 others under unclear circumstances after encounters with police officers. They burned tires and tree trunks to express their frustration. Extortion and harassment are also among the complaints made by the residents. They're calling on the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority to act on rogue officers.
Askari wanasumbua tena. Akipata mtu tu anasema, "We, uko na nini kwa mfuko?" Ungumpea 50 bob. Anachukua, anakuambia enda.
Tumepoteza mmoja wetu mshupavu na ni maarufu. Na kama ingekuwa wa maskari, huyu mwenzetu angefariki, angeaga dunia.
Meanwhile, the University of Nairobi has held a first virtual examination. This is after the pandemic forced the institution to devise ways of continuing with learning after physical classes sessions were suspended. The exam was based on an analytic set of questions which allowed students to refer to notes. It carried on for hours and had a number of lecturers invigilating the exam online. 26 students took the test. The university will continue with the virtual examinations this week, with 15 taking their Masters of Arts in Environmental Law and 8 taking their Masters of Arts in Environmental Policy. The exam took place under the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies.
And after submitting the exams, the students, we will be notified as the invigilator of the exam, which is the course tutor, will be notified that the student has actually handed in the exam. The exam coordinator will also be notified that the student has indeed submitted.
The Kenya National Union of Teachers, the university's academic staff union and the Kenya Human Rights Commission are discouraging the government against rushing to reopen schools amid the COVID-19 pandemic. They say enforcing the guidelines cannot be achieved in institutions of learning. They have argued that a greater percentage of teachers are aging and therefore their lives should not be put at risk.
We would rather have all our children staying at home, safe and alive, and repeating a year instead of forcing them to school so that they die. We must avoid. The world will not come to an end if we suspend certain matters. And we agree, even the national exams, KCP and KCSE, is not a ticket to heaven. It can be postponed to a suitable time when the syllabus shall have been covered and when school shall have resumed, when the curve shall have been flattened.
The government should do mass testing for all students and teachers of boarding schools before reopening schools once the pandemic is contained, and those who are sick are allowed to stay home until full recovery before resumption of learning.
Now, the government officers aiding smuggling and trafficking of drugs through Mule border have been warned that they will face stern action for the illegal activity. Eastern Regional Director Isaiah Nakuru says that they have confiscated about 3,181 kilograms of bang, among other drugs, with a street value of close to 50 million shillings in less than a year. The regional coordinator further says that among the people arrested were government officials using sophisticated means of smuggling drugs. He has appealed to the public to provide information that will lead to the arrest of culprits.
Gari inatembea, unafikiria hakuna kitu, kumbe kwa tubes bangi imewekwa. Kwa hivyo ni mbinu nyingi, watu wamekuwa na utaalamu mwingi, lakini pia kwa sababu ya maafisa wetu ambao wamejitolea na mbinu zetu ambazo tumeweka na ushirikiano na wananchi ambao wanatuambia, tumeweza kunasa wengi.
And on that note, we're going to take a short breather here on NTV at 1. We still have a lot more we've lined up for you. Stay with us.
If we continue to behave normally, this disease will treat us abnormally.
Pembe Flour, your most trusted quality brand for over 3 decades, has a new look now. This new pack is available in all leading supermarkets and outlets. It's still the same flour. Great taste, so you can cook and bake all you love with Pembe Flour. Pembe yangu ni poa.
Rashes again? Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Sonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa, mwili na hata meno. Sonadol Extra, hakika maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching NTV at 1. Now, Kiambu County government has moved to construct the Ndarugo Bridge that has claimed 10 lives during the heavy rains. The dilapidated bridge that connects Como and Juja villages has left residents using pipes to cross the river, thus risking their lives. The county, in partnership with the national government, has begun the construction of a temporary bridge to prevent further deaths. The tendering process for the construction of a permanent bridge is ongoing.
There was a bridge that was started, I think it must have been 2010, started by then Kiambu County Council, but the bridge was not completed. So people have made a makeshift bridge, and it is through that bridge that we have lost some lives.
Kuanzia Disemba mpaka sasa ni watu 8 wamekufa hapa kwa mto. Tena tunasabu watu wetu wale wako sehemu yetu, wale wanakufa sehemu ya Ukabani tunasabu wale tunabeba ni 8. Na tena tunasikia kuna wengine hata wajulikani kwa maana wanabebwa na maji, wanaenda kutafutiwa sehemu za chini kama Kilimambogo. Wote ni wale wanakunywa pombe, wanakunywa chang'aa, na chang'aa inauziwa hapa. Ukiruka sehemu hii, ukienda sehemu ile ni pombe. Ukienda mtoni hii ni katikati ya Darugo ya Bagabi, na hii wanauza pombe. Hii mambo inatokana na, tuseme ni serikali, kwa maana serikali ikiwa itapigana na sababu ikamaliza, ni watu wa pombe wataweza kukosa kumalizika.
Mili tumetoa mili nyingi kutoka hii mvua ianze. Tumetoa kitu mili 17 hivi. Ingine haijulikani wenyewe. So kama kuna familia imepoteza mpenzi wao ama rafiki, tafadhali tembeleeni City Mortuary juu huko ndo wengi hupelekwa.
Well, there are concerns over the health of expectant mothers who are increasingly shunning health centers amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. In Kajiado County, fewer women are taking up antenatal services offered in clinics and are now returning to the old traditional ways of delivering. NTV's Judith Cherono filed the report.
Expectant mothers are facing an extra challenge as the world continues to reel under the weight of the COVID-19 pandemic. This means that more and more women are straying away from health facilities in favor of traditional midwives.
Nakuwa ni challenge kwa sababu ya mambo ya kusafiri usiku na curfew, na wale wengine pia wameingia huko ndani wanaogopa kwamba sasa itapitia kabla hawajafika, na kwa hata ni ngumu hata kufika katika hospitali kwa sababu ya magari.
Tunapata wengi wanakuja baadaye, wakikuja ile kliniki ya watoto unapata kuna yule anakuja anakuambia alijifungulia kwa nyumba.
The fears stemming from the COVID-19 disease here are already being felt at Nalala Community Clinic, Emali. Only 1 out of 27 women enrolled for antenatal services sought the same this month, raising the alarm over potential childbirth-related complications for these women. Non-governmental organizations and government security apparatus have now stepped in to sensitize the community to take precautions against COVID-19, but not to endanger lives further by avoiding health facilities.
Tuko na stations kadhaa ambazo tume-identify, ambazo community watakuwa wananawia mikono. It's for the public, it's not for personal.
Judith Cherono, NTV.
All right, let's now take a look at stories making headlines globally. In South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced plans to reopen places of worship from June when the country moves into level 3 of a 5-tier coronavirus lockdown next month. The Rainbow Nation has been easing lockdown measures in stages.
Determined that as part of the regulations for alert level 3, the current restrictions on congregational worship will be eased in a carefully measured way. Churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, and other recognized places of worship may resume services, but these will be limited in size to 50 people or less, depending on the space available. Our religious leaders will be recognized as essential religious frontline workers for purposes of spiritual counseling to members of their faith organization. As we worked tirelessly to heal the divisions of the past, so too will our united action bring us healing from this pandemic. May God continue to bless South Africa and protect her people.
Now, US President Donald Trump has accused Twitter of interfering in the US election after the social media network labeled 2 of his tweets unsubstantiated for the first time. In the tweet, Trump wrote, "Twitter is now interfering in the 2020 presidential election. Twitter is completely stifling free speech, and I, as president, will not allow it to happen." For years before being elected in 2016, Trump built his political brand by supporting the birther lie that Barack Obama, America's first black president, was not born in the United States and therefore was not eligible to be president. Meanwhile, huge swarms of desert locusts have invaded regions of India. The locusts have already destroyed nearly 50,000 hectares of cropland in the country, prompting authorities to step up their response to the country's worst plague in nearly 3 decades. Drones, tractors and cars have been sent out to track the voracious pests and spray them with pesticides. The insects have caused massive damage to seasonal crops in 2 states, devastating many farmers already struggling with the impact of a strict lockdown. They destroyed harvests in the agricultural heartlands of neighboring Pakistan in April before entering Rajasthan. A swarm of millions of locusts can eat as much food as 35,000 people or 6 elephants, according to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization.
Moist, as well as the cyclone, which brought in some more favorable weather conditions for locusts to breed, have really made this like a sort of bumper season for locust breeding.
And on that note, let's now take a look at stories making headlines in the world of sports. And Brian Otwal is here for that. Brian?
Thank you so much, Zainab. And you start from Germany, where Bayern Munich took a huge step towards an 8th straight Bundesliga title on Tuesday with a 1-0 win at Borussia Dortmund to leave them 7 points clear atop with 6 games left.